Before we begin today's Creepypasta, I'd really like for everybody just to comment below what your favorite creepy story is of all time. It could be Reddit No Sleep, it could be Creepypasta, it could be one of my channel originals, or perhaps even another narrator's story as well. Thanks, guys. "Good morning, Gregory," said the time box. "It is the hour of waking. Please get up." Gregory sat up and closed the time box on his bedside table, absent-mindedly running his fingers across the red glyphs on its surface. The raised symbols felt slippery and cool underneath his hands, twisting and spinning like fish caught in a net. Gregory showered, dressed, and went downstairs, just in time to catch the authority box creaking open, the yellow glyphs on its sides rotating lazily. "Work shall begin in approximately 2 hours and 58 minutes, it said. "While you prepare, here are the items of interest for this morning." A truck jackknifed off the road 5 miles west of here. This, combined with the light rain on the road, has contributed to difficult driving conditions. Caution is advised. The voice of the authority box faded into a dull murmur as Gregory ate his breakfast. When the box had finished, Gregory rose from the table and carefully scraped the crumbs off of his plate. He would never admit it to anyone else, but this was one of his favorite parts of the day. Gregory liked order and cleanliness in all parts of his life, and he particularly loved cleaning up after himself, which is why he was so good at his job. Gregory was a garbage man. With his breakfast done, he zipped up his uniform, adjusted his cap, and was out the door just in time to meet the garbage truck piling up outside of his house. Julio waved to him from the driver's seat as he climbed inside. "It's a big day ahead of us, Greg," said Julio, easing the truck down the road. "Lots of houses to hit before the hour of respite." Gregory did not bother to correct Julio about his improper use of a nickname. He merely nodded and let routine take its course. Life as a garbage man was simple. Drive up to each house on the prescribed route, empty the contents of the garbage cans and recycling bins into the truck, then take everything in the truck to the dump and call it a day. It was straightforward work, mindless even. While there were many who would find this sort of job thankless and demanding, Gregory was not one of those people. He liked the repetitive nature of his work. It allowed him to relax and follow the flow of practiced action until it was time for him to clock out. Julio usually filled the time with his mindless chatter, so he never had any reason to feel bored. Gregory smiled to himself as he loaded another can onto the forks of the truck, watching as it dumped a load of bags into the waiting maw of the truck. There was something almost soothing about watching the cans go up and down over and over, garbage falling out of them like grimy confetti. Disposing of garbage was a key part of the circle of life, and Gregory was more than happy to be a part of it. As he was thinking this, one of the bags falling through the air suddenly split open, sending a hail of rotting fruit and discarded packaging down towards him. Gregory flattened himself against the side of the truck on reflex, wrinkling his nose in disgust as the trash flew past him. When the last piece of refuse had hit the ground, Gregory ran over to the front of the truck and motioned for Julio to get out. Julio hopped from the driver's seat and jogged on over to him, looking concerned. "What's going on, man?" "A bag got torn," Gregory replied, his voice hoarse. These were the first words that he'd spoken all day. "Ah, shit, really?" Julio groaned. "Did any of it get on the street?" "Most of it," said Gregory. Julio sighed. "Well, there goes my morning. Come on, let's go pick it up." If we're lucky, we could still make it in time for the hour of respite broadcast. Maybe the evaluation box might not be too hard on us, huh? Gregory fished out a pair of gloves from inside the truck and pulled them on, with Julio doing the same. They hastily picked up the scattered garbage and began tossing it amongst the bags, leaving it for the workers at the plant to sort out. As he was finishing up, Gregory noticed something gleaming sticking out from underneath the dirty plastic bag. He picked it up, brushed off the dirt, and stared at it. It was a box with purple glyphs. Now, Gregory had never seen anything like this before. You see, boxes only came in 5 varieties. Hell, everybody knew this. Red for time, blue for assignment, yellow for authority, green for evaluation, and pink for diversion. This box, however, did not correspond to any design or color associated with the boxes he knew and understood. This was something new, something different, something completely beyond his realm of experience. And someone had decided to throw this away. It completely baffled him. He peered closer at it, scanning for the label usually found at the top of the box. It was difficult for him to make it out amid the sea of moving glyphs, but he eventually found the traditional heavy cursive writing that indicated a box design purpose. He sounded it out, letter by letter, slowly but surely deciphering the box's inscription. WHIMSY. Whimsy. Gregory blinked and reread the markings as carefully as he could, certain that he had gotten it wrong. Whimsy boxes were supposed to be just an urban legend, a vicious rumor spread around by rebellious types who inexplicably held a grudge against the reassurance of the assignment boxes and the delight of the diversion boxes. There was no such thing as whimsy boxes. So how could there be? Whimsy boxes provided their owners with nothing but distraction, deviation, destruction. It was pure chaos in a 6-sided shell, and it represented everything Gregory hated in this world. "You done over there?" Julio called over. "We need to get going." And without knowing exactly why he did so, Gregory pocketed the whimsy box. "Coming," he replied. The thought of the whimsy box haunted Gregory for the rest of his morning shift, continually occupying his thoughts in a way that few things ever did. What would happen if he owned a whimsy box? What would it say to him? And for that matter, what could it say to him? Were all whimsy boxes the same, or did each one say something different? How consistent were these devices in their inconsistency? Gregory practically bolted inside his house once his shift was over, giving Julio a hasty goodbye as he left. Once he had reached the privacy of his bedroom, he stripped off his work uniform and cap and fished out the whimsy box, watching in fascination as the unfamiliar purple glyphs shivered beneath his touch. He gingerly sat the box on his bedside table, right next to the time box. And despite what he had imagined upon coming into the room, though, the two boxes did not look identical when placed side by side. Were the 5 regular kinds of boxes that shared the same dimensions and could only be told apart by the color and placement of their glyphs. The whimsy box was several inches bigger than the other boxes, and its glyphs hurt Gregory's eyes to look at it for too long, and the lack of symmetry annoyed him. Gregory didn't know why he still had the whimsy box, but something had kept him from leaving it behind, some niggling feeling that made him wonder exactly what it would say to him when it opened. He didn't want it to say anything to him, of course. There was no room in his carefully planned schedule for another box. Gregory wanted the box to present him with some inane tangents from his regularly planned activities, just so that he could deny them, refusing to give in to the forces of anarchy. He would then get rid of the box once and for all, cementing his victory in the name of order and reason. Gregory felt very proud of himself as he contemplated this. But the problem is, however, was that the box remained shut no matter how long he stared at it. And this was curious. Did a whimsy box really open at a specific time like all the others? I mean, from what Gregory had heard, whimsy boxes were supposed to remain perpetually open, haunting their owners with whatever fights of fancy they could think of. A whimsy box that wouldn't open seemed to go against everything the box was meant for. Perhaps it was broken. Just as Gregory was considering doing away with it entirely and throwing the box in the trash, the lid of the whimsy box slowly opened. "Well, well, well," said an oily voice. "Well, what do we have here? Gregory the garbage man. Dear, oh dear, how frightfully dull." Gregory shrank away from the box, his pulse thudding in his ears. A box had never addressed him by name before. It seemed too intimate. He didn't like the way it was addressing him either. If the box had a face, he imagined it would be sneering at him. "Well, you're just an obedient little worker drone, aren't you?" the box continued. "You're really not giving me much to work with here. Do you know that?" Gregory couldn't move or speak. His mouth felt dry. "Oh, don't give me that. I'm sure I could find something for you," said the box, its glyphs spinning around like a person rolling their eyes. "Now, let's see. Garbage man. Oh, I know. You like to collect garbage, isn't that right? Well, how about we make it a little more interesting?" What do you mean?" Gregory stammered. "Oh, good, you do speak," the box said delightedly. I was beginning to get tired of talking to myself. Anyway, I was thinking that if you like collecting garbage so much, you'd like it even better if you could collect more garbage. Isn't that right?" Gregory nodded without thinking about it, unable to take his eyes off the box. "So, how about you take people's garbage before it even becomes their garbage? You know, as a courtesy to them, of course. You just go into houses and take whatever looks like it could become trash. Well, the families there will be ever so grateful. Trust me," the box said, oozing with sincerity. "Wait, you're asking me to break into someone's home? That's ridiculous," Gregory exclaimed, feeling some of his old conviction return to him. "That's a horrible idea. I won't do it." "But it's such an interesting idea, isn't it?" the box wheedled. "The world's first proactive garbage man, protecting the people from the garbage they don't even realize is inside their home. It'd be an awfully brave thing to do. You might even be hailed as a hero." Gregory rose unsteadily to his feet. Now listen here," he began, hating the way his voice cracked. "I'm not going to engage in behavior like that. It's illegal, it's immoral, and it's just plain wrong." "Wrong? Whoever said anything about right or wrong? This is whimsy, a game where anything goes as long as it's interesting. You do know how the game works, don't you? Why would you have adopted a whimsy box if you didn't want to play?" "I adopted you," said Gregory, "to make a stand in the name of common sense and proper behavior. I denounce you and everything you stand for. abomination. No. So now you've made a stand. Congratulations. The box deadpanned. Is there anything else you have left to declare, or can we get on with our business? Business? We have no business, Gregory spluttered. Now shut up so I could throw you in the garbage where you belong. Oh, you would like that, wouldn't you? Getting to throw me out in the trash, disposing of the nasty old whimsy box in a way that you know best? It's too bad you won't be doing that, though. Well, why not? Said Gregory. Because whimsy boxes don't close until they're done with their whimsy, the box said delightedly. If you throw me out, I'll have nothing to do but talk and talk about how reliable, obedient Gregory the Garbage Man has been secretly using a whimsy box. Oh, can you imagine what would happen if someone overheard me? The rumors it would create. Gregory felt a bead of sweat rolling down his temple. You're bluffing. Oh, am I? The box said silkily. Do you really want to take that chance, Gregory? Gregory swallowed hard. Fine, I won't throw you away, but I'm not going to take you up on any of your awful ideas either, so you'll just have to get used to that. We'll see about that, Gregory. The box chuckled. We'll see. True to its word, the box talked incessantly about all the different whimsies it could think up, never once shutting up or even taking a moment to pause for a breath. Attempting to force the box closed yielded no results. The lid remained open despite Gregory putting as much pressure as he could on the tiny flap. It was forced to muffle the sound by stuffing blankets into the opening, but even that did little to stem the flood of noise. No matter where he went in the house, he could always hear the faint sound of the box's voice coming from its place on his bedside table. Gregory was so distracted by the constant drone of speech from the whimsy box that he couldn't even appreciate the usual delights of the diversion box when it opened later in the afternoon. Something had to be done, but Gregory didn't know what. After a sleepless night of tossing and turning, the box's voice somehow still audible, even after he had thrown it into his basement. Gregory didn't wake up the next morning at his usual time. Instead, he slept through the waking instructions from the time box and almost missed the truck pulling up into the front of his house. Gregory scrambled out the door, his uniform half on and his hat askew, and bounded up towards the cabin of the garbage truck. Gregory collapsed into the passenger seat, breathing heavily and closing his eyes. Julio peered at him. You okay, Greg? You don't look so hot, man. I had a late night, Gregory yawned. Couldn't sleep. Well, try not to take so many late nights in the future, okay? Said Julio. We need you on top of things here, amigo. Gregory didn't respond, instead shifting in his seat and staring out the window, watching as rows and rows of white and gray houses passed them by. Julio? He asked. Do you like your boxes? Julio glanced at him before turning his eyes back to the road. What was that, Grego? Gregory didn't even feel the slightest hint of annoyance in the nickname. I was just wondering how much you like your boxes. You know, like, I don't know how you feel about them. Julio laughed. Well, what the hell kind of question is that? My boxes are my boxes. They're just there. I don't have to feel anything about them. I was just thinking about it, Gregory said carefully, because I heard about someone who found a box that they didn't like very much. They said they thought it might be like a whimsy box. Julio jammed his foot on the brake, making both men jerk forward in their seats. He looked at Gregory, his eyes wild and his voice shaking. A whimsy box. Whoa, man. That's some bad stuff right there. Where the hell did you hear about this? Gregory shrank down in his seat. Oh, around. You don't want to be messing around with whimsy boxes, man. You see, those things ruin lives. Haven't you heard of all those stories about people who got crazy after using them? Said Julio. Yeah, I've heard the stories. Then why would you even bother asking about it, Grego? Julio shook his head as he took his foot off the brake. You take it from me, man. Some things are just better left off alone. Gregory didn't say anything for the rest of the ride. When Gregory finally made it back home, exhausted in more ways than one, he found that the box had not only continued talking, but had somehow gotten louder, even with the sheet still wedged into its opening. Wherever he went in the house, the voice of the whimsy box always floated after him, hunting him down no matter where he went. Garbage, 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 beautiful garbage, horrible garbage, statues made of garbage and garbage made of statues. Oh, all that food and waste and paper products and empty containers and dirty rags and, well, so many possibilities. We can sort them by age or type or location or color or completely different categories that we make up ourselves. Oh, Gregory, there's so much we can do. And you're still not listening to me. Why? After half a night spent trying to sleep through this, Gregory couldn't take it any longer. He marched downstairs to the basement, bleary-eyed and sullen, and yanked the blankets out of the whimsy box, and the box fell silent. One time, he muttered in a ragged voice. One time, and that's it. I will do this one thing that you have asked of me, and then we'll be done. Do you understand me? Oh, absolutely, the box purred. Just one teeny tiny condition, though. Oh my God, what more do you want? Gregory cried out. Take me with you when you do it. I mean, after all, what's the point in getting you to take part in my whimsy if I'm not there to offer helpful hints? The box wriggled back and forth in excitement. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. I can hardly wait to get started. Gregory began sobbing. The following night, he put the box's plan into action. Gregory crept out of his house, the whimsy box tucked safely away inside of his jacket. He shut the door as quietly as he could, nervously scanning the sidewalk for anyone who might spot him. Stop dawdling, the box ordered. No one's going to stop you. You're not even doing anything illegal yet. Gregory squeezed his eyes shut, sighed, then continued on. It took him 6 blocks before he felt comfortable enough to pick a target, randomly selecting a nondescript gray house. Once he was certain he was in a neighborhood he didn't recognize, Gregory tiptoed up the walkway, looking around the perimeter until he found a window that was about his size. He jiggled the frame for a minute, testing its strength, then discovered with a mixture of relief and uneasiness that it was unlocked. Gregory slid the window up, gingerly lifting first one leg and then the other through the opening until he was fully inside. It took a moment for Gregory's eyes to adjust. He was in a darkened living room, furniture arranged in a neat half-circles around an inactive diversion box. Gregory stepped around couches and ottomans until he was in the kitchen, where the remains of a meal were scattered across various countertops. This is perfect, the box squealed from inside his jacket. You know what to do, Gregory." Trembling, Gregory pulled out a large garbage bag from inside his jacket and began methodically clearing the food waste off the plates and into the bag. "Yes, yes," the box exclaimed. "Take it all. Take all their garbage. Don't stop now." "Just what do you mean?" Gregory whispered. "I mean, what else is there?" "Why, the plates, of course. Can't you see all those minuscule cracks and discolorations? Those are garbage waiting to happen. Throw it out. Throw it out, Gregory. Throw it out." Gregory obediently swept the dirty plates into his bag as well, wincing as he saw the fine crockery and china disappear into the trash bag. He tied the edge of the bag into a knot, turning and making a hasty retreat back towards the window. "Aha!" chided the box. "We're not done here yet." "Well, what now?" Gregory hissed. "Go upstairs, and I'll explain when we get there." Gregory headed for the staircase at the end of the living room, a sick feeling pulling in his gut. He gingerly went up the steps, one at a time, every squeak of the floorboards setting his nerves on edge. And finally, Gregory reached the second-floor landing, pausing to sigh with relief and readjust his grip on the trash bag, giving careful consideration to his footfalls. Gregory opened the nearest door and walked inside. A man lay asleep in a bed, the covers drawn up to his neck. He was snoring, a light, fluttery sound that was almost too faint to hear. "Oh, look at him. Well, he has so much garbage hanging around them that he doesn't even realize it," said the box. His voice was barely above a murmur. "Loose hair, dead skin, 2 long fingernails, that's for sure. It's all going to end up in the trash anyway. Might as well help him along." Gregory looked down at the box. "You can't be serious." "I'm always serious about whimsy, Greggy," the box replied. "You know what needs to be done. That garbage must be collected." "No. No." Gregory shook his head furiously. "Stealing is one thing, but this is whimsy, Gregory," the box said coldly. "Now shut up and get to work." The man turned over in bed, cracking one eye open and blinking up at him. Gregory mustered up every last iota of his resolve and reached a hand out towards him. "Never again," Gregory gasped, his hands on his knees. "Never again." He was standing outside the home he had just broken into, the trash bag laying at his side. His clothes were completely covered in blood. His hands and fingernails dyed a deep, dark red. The trash bag, now full to capacity, was also leaking blood, a stream of red making its way down into a nearby sewer grate. "But we have accomplished so much," the box said. "Doesn't any part of you feel proud? You're officially the most proactive garbage man who ever lived." Gregory fished the box out of his pocket, gripping it tightly with both hands. "We're done now," he said raggedly. "I did exactly what you told me to. Now close yourself up and leave me in peace." "Now what makes you think that I'm going to do that?" the box asked. "Well, we've only just gotten started. There's so many ideas left for us to explore." Gregory's mouth dropped open. No, he mumbled. "You promised it would be over. You promised." "I said a whimsy box only closes when its whimsy is completed, and my whimsy is far from over," the box said. "We have a long road ahead of us, partner." Gregory sank to his knees, burying his face in his blood-soaked hands. Gregory had to drag himself out of bed the next morning, tired beyond all reason despite the whimsy box staying quiet all night. He He washed himself, put on his clothes, and ate his breakfast in a trance, unable to listen to anything the authority box was saying. It took Julio honking at him from outside to make him rise from his kitchen table. Gregory shuffled out the door without locking it, climbing it into the cabin of the truck with a vacant look on his face. "Whoa, what's wrong with you today, Greg?" Julio asked. "You look dead to the world, man." Gregory burst into tears. Julio pulled the truck over to the side of the road. Hey, man, what is it?" he asked, laying a hand on Gregory's shoulder. "What happened?" "It's the whimsy box," Gregory hiccuped. "I found it when the bag broke open the other day, and I took it home, and I really shouldn't have. Because it made me do all these horrible things, and it still won't leave me alone, and I don't know what to do now." "Oh my God," Julio whispered, his face a pale white. "Oh God, Greg, this is all my fault." Gregory looked up at him. "What?" "Listen, Greg, I found the whimsy box a week ago just laying on the sidewalk," Julio said. "I was curious. I wanted to see what it did, but it told me to do these things, these terrible things. And I couldn't get it to stop. Eventually, I just tried throwing it away in one of the bags in the truck, and I guess that's where you found it. Listen, I'm sorry, Greg. I never meant for this to happen to you." Gregory didn't know what to say. He stared down into his lap, more sobs bubbling up in his throat when he noticed the flecks of red under his fingernails. "It hasn't let me stop either," Julio continued. "You see, these boxes, they have a way of keeping themselves going." "What do you mean?" Gregory asked. Julio looked away for a moment. "Come with me," he said. "I'll show you." Gregory left his seat and followed Julio around to the back of the truck. Julio climbed in the back and began pushing bags aside, reaching for one lone garbage bag behind all the others. He held the back upside down and shook it, sending the contents spilling onto the floor. Boxes. Time boxes, authority boxes, assignment boxes, boxes of every kind, with them all in various states of disrepair. Some were missing their lids, others their sides, and a few had been stripped down so much that they were just a square or two laying on the ground. In the middle of all of them was a cobbled-together box made of various odds and ends from the others, its sides sticking together at odd angles. A dull purple glow came from the glyphs on its surface. Gregory stared at the box with wide eyes, unable to believe what he was seeing, and Julio shook his head helplessly. "It won't let me go, Greg," he said. "It'll never let me go. I didn't know it wanted me to do this when I started. I never suspected." "What?" Gregory said quietly. "Did it make you do?" "What did it make you do, Julio?" "It said," Julio choked out, "that if I like garbage so much, I should try recycling." The two of them stared at the half-finished whimsy box, its glyphs spinning and spinning.